Welcome all. For today's presentation, we'll be discussing about the production of silver nanoparticles. These nanoparticles are ultrafine unit with the dimensions measured in the nanometers. These exist in the natural world and are also created as a result of human activities. Nanoparticles, because of their submicroscopic size, they have unique material characteristics, and hence, if manufactured, they may find practical applications in agriculture, medicine, engineering, physics, chemistry, catalysis, uh, textile industries, environmental remediation, etc. Nanoparticles, as per the definition by International Organization for Standardization, is defined as a nanoparticle is a discrete nano-object where all three Cartesian dimensions are less than 100 nanometers. There are three typical properties of nanoparticles which are interrelated to one another. The first property is they are highly mobile in free state. That is, in the absence of some other additional influence also, a 10 mm diameter nanosphere of silica has a sedimentation rate under gravity of even less than 0.01 mm per day water. Second property is they have enormous specific surface areas, and third property, they exhibit quantum effects. Thus, nanoparticles have a vast range of compositions depending upon the use or the product. So, nanoparticles are produced by plants, microorganisms, etc. So, microorganisms which produce the inorganic nanoparticles is either through intracellular or extracellular routes. Of the microorganisms, the bacteria which synthesize the inorganic materials, those are magnetotactic bacteria and S-layer bacteria. So these microorganisms are a potential biofactory for the synthesis of nanoparticles like gold, silver, platinum, palladium, titanium, etc. These physical and chemical methods for the synthesis of these nanoparticles are more popular, but they have their own limitations due to their toxicities. The microorganisms which are used for the synthesis of nanoparticles are Sargassum wightii, Plectonema, Candida utilis, Escherichia coli, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, etc. Even Aspergillus and Fusarium species. So all these species have the ability to reduce heavy metal. The applications of silver nanoparticles, these are used as plasmonic nanoantennas. So that is in subfields of nanomedicine, those are nanoelectronics, diagnostics, molecular imaging and biomedicine. This AGNPs are used as plasmonic nanoantennas. So these interesting applications are based on utilizing an enhanced electromagnetic field on near and the surface of the silver nanoparticles. So at the plasmon resonant wavelength, AGNPs act as nanoscale antennas, increasing the intensity of the local electromagnetic field. Second application is these are used in diagnostics with the tunable wavelength. Silver nanoparticles are used for the detection of P53 in carcinoma cell, and these are also potentially promising as fluorescent labels, imaging experiments or bioassays which require low background or tissue penetrating. Silver nanoparticles have the application in biomedical field also. These are used as a potential antibacterial and anti-cancer agents. So this silver nanoparticle coated bandages, they can kill the harmful microbes and allow better healing at the injured tissues. Again, silver ions, these are used as antimicrobial agent in composites, in dental resins and in coatings of medical instruments also. It is also used in food packaging industries. So this picture shows you how the silver nanoparticles act upon the bacterial or the microbial cell, bacterial cell particularly in this figure. They act upon and they will lead the cell for death. So initially the silver nanoparticles, they adhere to the outermost membrane of the cell, that is cell membrane. So what happens after the addition of the silver nanoparticles to the cell membrane? There is alteration of structure and permeability in the membrane, and due to this alteration, there is a leakage of cellular content and ATP molecules, and also this imparts the transport activities. And later on, if it penetrates inside the cell and nucleus after cell rupturing the cell membrane, so it destabilizes and denature protein, and also it interacts with the protein in the cell. Again, the reactive oxygen species generation is taken place, and cellular toxicity is induced by these silver nanoparticles. So what happens here into the cell when these AGNPs enter, proteins and lipids are oxidized. There is a mitochondrial dysfunction. The ribosome destabilization takes place, and also there is a stress which is induced on endoplasmic reticulum. So there is a genotoxicity also produced when this AGNPs enter into the microbial cell. So DNA base are damaged, and there is a breaks and mutations in the strands, and there is inhibition of replication of transcription. So this is the action of AGNPs on the bacterial cells. Hence, these are used as antibacterial agents. Silver nanoparticles are also used in the field of optoelectronics. So what happens in optoelectronics? Here the silver nanowires are used as conductive coatings in flexible electronics and transparent semiconductors. And these AGNPs have the potential to be applied in silver paste for efficient contact at electronic interfaces because of their high conductivity. And these AGNPs can also be used as antennas, enhancing plasmonic activity for sensing of a specific molecule, or in imaging applications also. Therefore, it is utilized as a sensing material for environmental monitoring. Before going to the procedure of synthesis of silver nanoparticles from the fungi, let us quickly have a look through this flowchart. This gives you an idea about the steps or the procedures before and after synthesis of silver nanoparticles. So initially, the fungi is grown in potato dextrose broth for 4 to 5 days or 1 week, and this broth is filtered and the mycelia is taken. So this mycelia is used for the synthesis of silver nanoparticles. So silver nanoparticles are synthesized intracellularly via intracellular or extracellular. So in case of intracellular synthesis, the silver nitrate is added to the supernatant. In case of extracellular synthesis, silver nitrate is added to the filtration. So after adding this silver nitrate, this media is kept for incubation. So during incubation, there are several aspects which has to be taken care. For example, the interaction time between the fungal mycelia and the silver nitrate should be monitored timely, and also the concentration, interaction concentration, how much concentration of this mycelia is interacting with how many molecules of this silver nitrate should also be taken care, and proper pH should be maintained in the solution, and the mixing ratio also should be taken care. So after taking care of all these 4 aspects, silver nanoparticles are synthesized here. So thus synthesized silver nanoparticles are taken and these are characterized. So for characterization, first it is the optical density is measured by UV visible spectrophotometer, followed by FTIR, then PEM transverse electron microscope, then EDS and DLS techniques. So in detail, what the applications or the role of functions of these things will be discussing in the coming slides. So after characterization, we need to discuss about or make a study about, analyze about the applications. So for applications, as I already told that silver nanoparticles are used in medicine, food, catalysis, agriculture, and etc. So particularly in medicine, these are used as antimicrobial agents, anti-cancer agents, antiviral agents, and anti-inflammatory agents. So applications, or after applications, there are several challenges in these fields as using the silver nanoparticles in all these fields. So to overcome, to face these challenges, we need to quickly study challenges in the synthesis and challenges of applications. So challenges of applications should be studied in vitro cytotoxicity, in vivo toxicity, and impact on aquatic systems should also be studied. Then after analyzing or studying the challenges in applications, so they have next process is to check or to reduce the to check the possible ways to reduce the toxicity of AGMPs, if at all these AGMPs are toxic. So in order to reduce the toxicity, there should be the toxicity studies done wherein mechanisms of the toxicities are dealt in detail, and also if the possible solutions for this toxicity are also dealt. Finally, or if this toxicity is covered up, then the researchers comes to conclusion whether this AgNO3 can be used in all these fields or not. So this is brief outline or idea to what are the steps before and after synthesis of silver nanoparticles. Basically, this is followed by all the researchers or the scientists who are into the synthesis of nanoparticles. The procedure for synthesizing the silver nanoparticles by the fungi are, the first step is growth of fungi in the medium. So particularly these fungi are grown in potato dextrose agar medium. At the laboratory levels, the fungus should be grown in 200 ml bottles, each containing 100 ml of GC medium. This GC medium is composed of 0.5% glucose, 0.4% casein hydrolysate, and the temperature maintained should be a range from 25 to 28 degrees centigrade under continuous mixing by magnetic stirrer or rotary shaker. If rotary shaker is used, the RPM should be 150 for 72 hours. So after 72 hours, the mycelial mass will be separated from the culture broth by sterile filter paper, and the settled mycelia should be washed thrice with sterile distilled water. Next, this harvested and washed mycelial mass then is used for the synthesis of silver nanoparticles. Second step is biosynthesis of using silver nitrate. So 10 gram of the mycelial mass, wet biomass, is mixed with 100 ml aqueous solution of 1 mm silver nitrate. So after mixing, it is allowed to settle down, and the reaction starts. That is, the mycelial mat and the mycelial mat reacts with silver nitrate. Silver nanoparticles will be produced through reduction of silver ions to metallic. So what happens during the synthesis of this silver nanoparticles? When we add silver nitrate, the fungus mycelium is exposed to the metal salt solution. So that this exposure prompts the fungus to produce enzymes and metabolites for its own survival. So during the production of enzymes and metabolites, during this process, the toxic metal ions are reduced to the non-toxic metallic solid nanoparticles through a catalytic effect of extracellular enzyme and metabolites of the fungus. So silver ions are trapped on the surface of the fungal cells due to electrostatic interaction between the silver ions and negatively charged carboxylate group of the enzyme produced by the fungi. Then, as intracellular reduction of silver ions occurs in the cell wall, silver nuclei are formed, which subsequently expand by further reduction of silver ions. You can see in this diagram, from this petri dish, fungal mycelia is grown in broth, that is PDA broth, PD broth, potato dextrose broth. So after few days, this fungal mycelium is filtered, and this broth is filtered, and the mycelium is separated. So that mycelia used for the synthesis of silver nanoparticles. So this mycelia biomass is added into the conical flask along with the addition of silver nitrate. So after addition of the silver nitrate, what happens? The fungal mycelium produces enzymes and metabolites for its own survival. So in this process, the toxic metal ions are reduced to the non-toxic metallic solid nanoparticles through the catalytic effect of extracellular enzyme and the metabolites of the fungus. So on the outer surface of the fungal cell walls, these silver ions are trapped due to electrostatic interaction between the silver ions and the negatively charged carboxylic group of the enzyme. Then as intracellular reduction of silver ions occurs in the cell wall, silver nuclei are formed and which are subsequently expanded by the further reduction of silver ions. This is what happens when silver nitrate is added into the mycelial broth. So this is the picture showing two different changes, color in the changes in Trichoderma ricea biomass. This is the color before and this is the color after exposure to silver ions for 72 hours. So you can see the color, change in color. So change in color indicates the synthesis of silver ions. So this change in color is seen after 74 hours of incubation. Third step is characterization. After synthesis, next is characterization of nanoparticles or silver nanoparticles. The first step, usually by visual inspection of the solution, nanoparticles are characterized. Also by measuring the UV visible spectra of the solution by periodic sampling is done. This is followed by the fluorescence measurement on luminescence spectrophotometer. Then after that, Fourier transfer infrared spectroscopy studies are done where the films of nanoparticles will be produced on silicon 111 substrates by drop coating the metal nanoparticle solutions. Then the nanoparticle films are formed. This nanoparticle films formed on carbon coated copper grids will be examined by TEM, transmission electron microscopy, where the images of the films will be scanned. So these are all the methods used in characterization of the silver nanoparticles. The first one is UV visible spectrophotometer. So here the localized surface plasmon resonance of silver nanoparticles can be tested, and the biosynthesis of silver nitrate particles can be monitored periodically using this UV spectra within the range 200 to 600 nanometer. SEM, scanning electron microscopy, is another technique used for characterization where the deposition on the fungal surface is confirmed, and TEM, transmission electron microscopy, analyzes the size and morphology of silver nanoparticles. XRD, X-ray diffraction analysis, can be done to study the elemental silver in the silver nanoparticles. FTIR is another technique, Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, where the interaction between the proteins and silver nanoparticles can be analyzed. DLS, dynamic light scattering technique, is used to examine the equivalent diameters, size distribution and zeta potentials of silver nanoparticles. Another technique of characterization or the method used in characterization is TGAX, that is used for the elemental analysis or chemical characterization of silver nanoparticles. So this is electron microscopy photograph of silver nanoparticles showing you different shapes and sizes of the AgNPs. So these are seen in small beaded structures like balls, like bars, cube silver nanoparticles, prism, pyramid silver nanoparticles. They are also seen in wire top, wire sorts, etc. Hope you all have enjoyed this video lesson. See you in the next presentation. Till then, take care. Bye.